Hey everyone, what's going on? In this video, I'm going to talk about Elon Musk buying Twitter and how it's related to this horse that came out of nowhere called Rich Strike winning the Kentucky Derby. And just right off the bat, think about the name of the horse, Rich Strike. Kind of like strike it rich, or even possibly a strike against the rich. And think about Elon Musk, who bought Twitter. Rich guy, a lot of people, a lot of memes and stuff going around, saying that Elon Musk could have used his money for better things and so on. People kind of striking against the rich. And of course, you also have Donald Trump, who started Truth Social, which I'll explain why that's important. And, think about Donald Trump and Elon Musk and rich guys and a whole lot of things here. The main theme with this horse coming out of nowhere and winning, it's all connected to these rich people. And it's really funny because if you go back to 2019, I've been talking about this theme with the Mandela effect and how it's related to horse racing. And of course, Nelson Mandela is also from South Africa, just like Elon Musk is from South Africa. And it all had to do with this. In 2019, there was the horse that everyone thought was going to win originally, but it got scratched, was called Omaha Beach. And if you looked up Omaha Beach, I believe its owner was called Richard Mandela. It might have been the trainer, Richard Mandela. And then I had a bunch of synchronicities that were showing me the Mandela effect. And it all had to do with this movie called The Adventures of Lyle Swan. And in December of last year, we got the death of one of the guys from the band The Monkees, and he just so happened to be the guy who wrote the movie Time Rider, The Adventures of Lyle Swan. And then we also had the death of Medina Spirit, and we had the death of one of the former presidents of South Africa, and a whole bunch of other things that were going on. We had the Jussie Smollett story in the news, being sentenced or whatever. And his first movie was The Mighty Ducks, and the Mighty Ducks were also important to this whole theme because in 2016, Donald Trump came out to the song We Are the Champions by Queen at his Republican National Convention, and he did so on Nelson Mandela's birthday. And of course, the song We Are the Champions is part of the Mandela effect because it doesn't say of the world at the end anymore. And most people remember it saying of the world. So there was all of these things with the Mandela effect and how it linked up to horse racing and so on. And now this Rich Strike horse is definitely connected to Elon Musk. But a few other reasons too. Like right around the time Medina Spirit died, we had a story of the Sex in the City or whatever, Sex and the City, whatever it is, a Mandela effect thing, but they rebooted that show. We also had the death of Anne Rice. Anne Rice is the lady who wrote Interview with the Vampire, and some people think it was Interview with a Vampire, a Mandela effect thing. But she also wrote the book called Queen of the Damned. And if you've ever seen the movie Queen of the Damned, the character of Akasha is like the vampire who created everything, right? And that is played by the singer Aaliyah. And it's interesting because I have an old video in 2014 talking about how Aaliyah is connected to the number 115. And Elon Musk just bought Twitter on the 115th day of the year. And Twitter in Gematria equals 115. But what sticks out to me even more with this is the reason that Rich Strike became the horse that won the Kentucky Derby, it even got into the Kentucky Derby, was because the horse Ethereal Road had scratched, and that allowed Rich Strike to be in there. I mean, just if you read about Hermeticism, the principle of Akasha is also the principle of ether. And ether is what, everything stems back to. It's like, it's what the world consists of. It's like it controls all of the other principles, ether, which is Akasha. And think about this in regards to striking it rich and money. And think about how cryptocurrency with, Elon Musk and Dogecoin, but think about ether and Ethereum. I really think there's something important to Ethereum with all this. And possibly it's just going to crash, I don't know. But there's definitely something important to Ethereum, I believe, with this whole story. And it's no coincidence, ether, real, like ether is real, road, It's just very interesting. But anyway, to further this thought, let's just look at the stuff that I blogged about. So in Gematria, this horse, Rich Strike, equals 69 and also 57. And it won on the date 5-7, like 57. But notice the 69. And Nelson Mandela also equals 69. And the current president of South Africa, his name equals 69, and he's 69 years old. And if you go back to December, that a big number that I was following with the horse theme related to the Mandela effect, it had to do with the number 219. And this guy got coronavirus 69 days before 219. And there was a whole bunch of other connections. I can't remember it all to do with 219. Even Medina Spirit died 219 days after the Kentucky Derby. And its owner was born 2 months and 19 days before it died, and a whole bunch of other things. 219, this humongous number I was following. So I'm just pointing out, this guy got coronavirus. I even predicted he would get coronavirus 2 weeks before he got coronavirus. But, his name's 69. 69 days before 219, he was 69 years old. Anne Rice, her name equals 69, and she died 69 days before or after her birthday, too. But, look at Elon Musk. Elon Musk's full name, Elon Reeve Musk, 57 and 69, just like this horse. Rich Strike, rich person. And when you look up Rich Strike, you find out that the horse was actually foaled or born on April 25th, 2019. So the year this Mandela effect thing goes back to, for one, just before the Kentucky Derby even that year. But April 25th, that's the same day that Elon Musk bought Twitter, the 115th day of the year. And that was also 65 days before Elon Musk's birthday, and the word horse equals 65. Also, if you go from the Kentucky Derby this year to the death of Nelson Mandela, it's 6 months, 28 days, and that is Elon Musk's birthday, 6/28. I'll talk about that more in a minute, but just think about this horse being born on the 115th day of the year, same day Elon Musk buys Twitter. Twitter equals 115, 115th day. Also, Elon Musk, if you go to his Twitter account, he's following 115 people. I mean, what are the odds? Following 115 people. It's also interesting in regards to Elon Musk being rich, right? Remember, I think it was 2000, it was either 2020 or 21, I can't remember. But there was a story in the news about how Elon Musk had surpassed Jeff Bezos for the richest man in the world. And that just so happened to be it was on January 7th of whatever year that was. I think it was 21, but January 7th just so happens to be the anniversary of Nikola Tesla dying. And think about how Elon Musk, he owns Tesla and so on. But look at his full name in Gematria. It equals 369. And if you've ever heard that quote about Tesla, he said like the key to the universe or whatever it was. I'm paraphrasing, can't remember the exact quote. But a lot of people know this, is that the key to the universe was 369. And then you got Elon Musk's name in the Francis Bacon ciphers. It equals 369, and he owns a company called Tesla. And even when you look up Nikola Tesla, on his Wikipedia, they even tell us that his birthday is June 28th on the Julian calendar, basically, the old style calendar. It's like, what are the odds of that, So he has the same birthday, and it's sort of the same birthday as Elon Musk, 6/28. And that's the day that leaves 186 days in the year. 6/28 leaves 186 days in the year. And look at Elon Reeve Musk in Gematria here. 186. He also owns SpaceX. That equals 186 in these Francis Bacon ciphers. And he surpassed Jeff Bezos for the richest man in the world 186 days after the founding of Amazon. And Amazon was founded on the 186th day of the year. And Jeff Bezos just so happens to equal 186 of this. And I'm bringing all this up because if you go and look up the horse here, Rich Strike just so happened to earn $1.86 million for this victory, right? $1.86 million. So once again, that it's somehow related to Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, rich people, Rich Strike, Donald Trump getting kicked off of Twitter, on the exact same day that Medina Spirit's win was nullified, 2/21. Not to mention, Donald Trump also, he test launched his website Truth Social on Kamala Harris's birthday in 2021. And that was 47 days before Medina Spirit died. And Truth Social equals 47. Then they completely launched it right around the time of the Ukraine stuff. Ukraine equals 47. Think about the next president's going to be the 47th president. The word president equals 47. White House 47, government 47, Republican 47, Democrat 47. Pretty interesting. Even Kamala Harris's birthday is even a span of 4 months and 7 days after Donald Trump's birthday. So it's interesting that's 47 days before Medina Spirit died. And then Medina Spirit's win gets nullified on the same day that the website actually officially launches. But Donald Trump also has this connection to Tesla because his relative named John G. Trump, he was the guy who got to go investigate Nikola Tesla's work after Nikola Tesla had died. And there's a bunch of conspiracy theories that he found a time machine and blah, 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 and that Donald Trump, the Trump family used it and went back in time, and who knows, I don't know. I'm not going to get into all that. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. I don't know. Doesn't really matter to me, but it's interesting that his uncle or whatever it was, I don't know what it was, his relative, I didn't read what it was, I forgot what it is, but Donald Trump's relative was the guy who got to do this at Tesla's house after he dies. But this guy, he just so happened to die on February 21st, which is the same day that Truth Social launched, which is also the same day that Medina Spirit's win was nullified. And remember, Medina Spirit, the horse that now won is called Mandaloon, right? Think about, the Mandela effect. I mean, it's pretty interesting to even have the Manda in it, like Mandela effect, Mandaloon. But this guy's name, John G. Trump, equals 47. And of course, 2/21 is the 52nd day of the year, so he dies on the 52nd day of the year. In relation to the 47th president, the word president also equals 52, and so does White House and government, and so on. So it's very interesting. But his full name equals 69, like Elon Reeve Musk, like Rich Strike, connected to Tesla. The next election will be on 11/5 too, like Twitter 115th day of the year. And even look at the jockey too. The jockey for Rich Strike was named Sonny Leon. And Sonny Leon equals 264, 185, 43. I mean, just look at all these connections. Elon Musk, 43, 218. Elon Reeve Musk, 264. Donald John Trump, 185. All synced up to this jockey. And Sonny Leon also equaling 43 is interesting, and Elon Musk equaling 43 because he bought Twitter 43 weeks after his birthday, and Nikola Tesla died in the year 1943. So, just no doubt, this horse won for that specific reason, linked up to Elon Musk, linked up to the Mandela effect. Just trying to look here really quick. Ether real. I really think there's something important to Ethereum that's important to this story. But I'll leave it at that. We'll see how it keeps going. I'll leave some links in the description so you can watch and understand why it was connected to the Mandela effect even more. I have a whole playlist of it because I've been following this theme since 2019, and once again, it just keeps showing up as connected to Elon Musk. What are the odds that the horse will be born on the same day that Elon Musk buys Twitter? So yeah, we're just going to leave the video here. Hopefully, I got to go to my daughter's track thing here in a little bit, and then I also have a band gig tonight, but I really want to make this an in-depth video just talking about gematria and esoteric knowledge in general. And I really want to open people's minds. There's a lot of people in the community who really look at gematria as at like a microcosmic level. And if you really start to see the macrocosmic, the bigger picture of how all of these things are just connected, everything's related, it really changes your view and your aspect of what gematria really is. And a lot of people, I mean, I agree there is a cabal that exists, but there's a lot of things to think about. And a lot of people think they're just so awake because they've learned gematria and they've learned how to associate every single number they see to something and correlate it to the cabal or, the Freemasons or the Jesuits or whatever, which isn't entirely untrue, but it, it's also not true. And you can connect it to a lot of other things if you pay attention, and you don't have to even use the cabal to understand the knowledge. And I've shown this over and over and proved it over and over, but I just want to make another video just showing people that we have a lot more to think about. And, there's ways that the cabal also influences you to do certain things, and unless it's just fate. But I don't know. I just want to make a video just discussing it and talking about it and giving my thoughts. But, it's just like this story here. Elon Musk buying Twitter on the 115th day of the year, right? And sure, Twitter equals 115. That makes a lot of sense, 115th day. But then you got people they'll write oh, Freemasons, right? So that obviously proves that the Freemasons are behind this Elon Musk buying Twitter. Well, possibly, but I mean, really the story has nothing to do with Freemasons, so it doesn't make sense that's just a belief then, Freemasons or Scottish Rite Freemasonry equals 115. So it's obviously the Freemasons. That's just to me is garbage decoding. It doesn't make any sense unless, it goes by your belief that every story is coded by a cabal. And that 115, like I said, to me, it has this relationship to Aaliyah and a bunch of other things. There's so much more that is going on than just people sitting around making sure that Elon Musk, he probably did buy Twitter on the 115th day because Twitter equals 115. He has 115 followers, but that does not anywhere near prove that the Freemasons coded the story. You know what I'm saying? There's a million other things that the 115 could be connected to. And there might even be a connection to maybe the day Freemasonry was founded and whatever else. But you got to realize that is a foundation for you to understand a pattern that is involved. If there's another person that has a different way to understand that 115 and I understand it in a different way and it doesn't connect to any of that, it doesn't prove the Freemasons were behind it, But I'll leave it there. We'll see if I have enough time when I get home later. I think that's why my girlfriend was just calling me, but have a good one. Peace. So never mind, I'm not going to end the video just yet. I'm going to make it short though, but I made this video I started it on May 13th around noon, and I said that I had to go to this track thing called Puppy Relays for my daughter, and then later on Friday night I had a band gig, so I didn't have time to upload this video here. But I went to my band gig, and I don't know, I left probably around 2 something in the morning, and I went to, it's called Juventinos now. It used to be called Alvarado's in Council Bluffs, but I always call it Alvarado's. But I was in there, I was in the drive-thru waiting to get something to eat, and I looked at my phone, and I noticed that I had a notification that the actor Fred Ward had died. And what's interesting is all of these stories, they came out on Friday, May 13th. But he actually died on May 8th. And it wouldn't really be that interesting except for the fact that Fred Ward just so happens to be the main actor in this movie that I'm talking about in the video. Time Rider, The Adventures of Lyle Swan. Fred Ward is the main character in this TV show, or this movie. What are the odds that I make a video, and in the beginning of this video I talk about that movie, Time Rider, and then the same day that I make this video, later in the day, the news comes out that the main actor in the movie died? I mean, that's the type of stuff I'm talking about all the time, And I mean, you see here, it was actually written by this Michael Neesmith guy who died back on December 10th, right around the time that Medina Spirit had died. And he was the guy from the Monkees or whatever. But notice his birthday, December 30th, 1942. Look at Fred Ward's birthday, December 30th, 1942. So these guys literally like have the exact same birthday, and then they both die, in connection to this Kentucky Derby. Exactly what I've been talking about. And what's even crazier is that if you go from the day that this Michael Neesmith guy died, he died, and then you look at Fred Ward, he actually died on May 8th, which maybe I'll bring up here in a second, but May 8th, that means they died a span of 4 months and 29 days apart. And this really sticks out for the fact that if you go back to 2019 when I started talking about this theme, it actually began because I had this weird comment on my old video about that movie and the Mandela effect, and that comment was on April 29th, right? And then I made the blog post on April 30th, so 4/29. Both of these, this day was again important in 2020, 4/29 and 4/30. They were both really, really important. So it's just interesting. They would die 4 months and 29 days apart. That guy they would announce his death on the same day that I make this video talking about the movie, right after the the Kentucky Derby and so on. It's just like, you gotta, give me a break. And even if you go back if you look at some of the videos in the playlist where I was talking about this horse theme, I was talking about how it was connected to this, how I had this vacation back in February on 2/19 actually, and I had synchronicity with horse and a bunch of stuff, but I was talking, I went to Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And once again, this is really interesting because another big story in the news right now is this giant dust storm that was in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. This crazy dust storm. I don't know the whole thing with it, but I'm just going, man, all these things I'm talking about that's related to this Kentucky Derby, now they're like big things in the news. It's like, what are the odds Fred Ward would die? And what's even weirder is that not even that long ago, I rewatched the movie Road Trip. Just randomly wanted to rewatch the movie Road Trip. And I rewatched it. You can even see it. Like, I didn't quite finish it. But Fred Ward is actually in that movie. He's the dad of Kyle in that movie. And I don't know. There's something important to, it's just weird that I rewatched that movie. And there's a whole bunch of other things going on with it, but Tom Green's in this movie. He's also in that movie called Freddy Got Fingered, and there's like multiple narratives that are being connected here, and I'm not going to re-explain it. I'm just going to leave it very simple here, and then maybe I'll make another video and kind of go more in depth. But there's a lot of narratives that I've been following that are all kind of coming together, and I recently just watched Ozark too. I started watching it back in around February, around the time that I went to South Dakota and whatnot. And because I actually thought I was watching some show called The Outer Banks. But it turned out a coworker had told me to watch the movie the TV show Outer Banks. And I thought that she said Ozark, and I went home and started watching this, and then I realized, I was like, this doesn't sound like what she was telling me to watch, But I recently just watched another episode, and the reason that I started watching that other episode was actually because I saw this story of Kaylee Kuko, the girl from The Big Bang Theory, and how she's dating one of the guys on Ozark. And if you remember, Kaylee Kuko just got divorced back in September, and she was married to a horse rider, an equestrian. And she was also important to that horse theme. And I also mentioned her in my old post about Fred Ward back in 2019 or whatever. Talked about, how he was synced up to the Freddy symbolism that was related to the Tisha B'Av event. So there's something very important going on here. Just the odds that I would watch Road Trip and then watch Ozark. And I watched Ozark because of her, and she synced to that horse theme. And I even mentioned her in the, my old post back on April 30th of 2019, just before the Kentucky Derby, so crazy. Fred Ward also died at the age of 79, and he died on the 128th day of the year. If you write out the Mandela effect, it equals 79 and 128. If you write out Fred Ward equals 79. And he died a span of 79 days after the date 2/19, which was really big with that horse narrative and so on. And, it is interesting now, thinking about the time travel thing with Tesla and Donald Trump's relative got to go, like, examine Tesla's work, and there's that theory about the time machine and so on. And then we get this movie, Time Rider, that's really important to think about the Mandela effect in relation to kind of time travel stuff. There definitely is something important to that. You know, there's another movie called Time After Time that also has the November 5th time travel date, just like Time Rider. And think about Back to the Future that has that November 5th date as well. Remember the 5th of November, which a day important to the Jesuits. Interesting, the day that leaves 56 days in the year. Of course, Society of Jesus equals 56 and so on. But I know that there's something definitely important to this Breckenmeyer guy too, because if you go back to when Kaylee Kuko got divorced, there was a bunch of stuff with a dream theme that was going on. And recently I had synchronicity with the word Brecken, so I thought there was something important to this Breckenmeyer guy because he's the Power Glove guy and one of the Freddy Kruegers where he dies or whatever. He dies in Freddy Krueger, but he's also in the movie Road Trip. And I wondered if I subconsciously watched Road Trip because of this guy or something, because I was blogging about it. But notice his birthday was the same day as the Kentucky Derby. He's also in the movie Clueless. Brittany Murphy died on my birthday. Just trying to think, Brittany Murphy in Clueless is his girlfriend. But this number 128 is also interesting because a big thing with me going to Sioux Falls had to do with my sister and the date January 28th, and a synchronicity I had with the band Absolutely, or the band 9 Days and their song called Absolutely. And then 9 days after my sister had texted me, we got that bridge collapse, and I was talking about how it was synced up to a bridge collapse and this drowning narrative. So I did it. I feel like there is something definitely important too. Like I don't know how to explain it, but the other day my sister actually sent me an invitation in a group text message about how her son is getting confirmed into the church, whatever church they go to. It's not the Catholic one, but I thought it was just a message to me and my brother, but it turned out to be a message to a whole bunch of people. And I found this picture of the priest who, got busted for child molesting when I was a kid and did a bunch of creepy, weird stuff to me. And I found this picture and I just put a little thing I wrote, "Sounds great, I'll be there." And then my sister had to explain to everybody in that message, like, what that was. And I didn't realize that there's all these other people in the message, so. She actually thought it was really hilarious, but then my brother wrote something about, "That's a very touching picture," or something, but that's why I think there's something important to that, that 11/5 date. Remember, he got kicked out of the Catholic Church after being a priest for 35 years, and Catholic equals 35. He also got kicked out at the age of 63. And that big Catholic narrative that I was following back in 2017 was all about the number 63. Like every priest I ever had growing up, one of them died on the 63rd day of the year. The other one, he was a Jesuit, and he died 6 months and 3 days before the Jesuit anniversary at the age of 63. His name equaled 63. The other, Father Jim, equaled 63. This guy gets kicked out of the Catholic Church age 63, and the story comes out on June 30th, 6:30. Like a 63, if you take out the 0. My Uncle Barney, the 4th degree Knight of Columbus, who mysteriously died at the Jesuit University, Creighton, after Zach's car, or the crash, after the Umbrella Man threatened Zach and then the car crashed into his garage and all that. Then my uncle mysteriously died in this weird, strange car wreck, but he died at the hospital. But he died at the age of 63. I mean, there's no doubt that there's something important to the Catholic Church and, you know, this knowledge. That's for sure. And there's no doubt that they're related to some cabal, or there's something that wants us to believe that they are a big important piece to the cabal. I wonder, there's a lot of questions that I have. But my nephew's getting confirmed on 6-5, and the word horse equals 65. And a lot of this stuff goes back to, Fred Ward was in that movie Tremors. Think about that, in regards to earthquakes. There's even one called Tremors Aftershock. And then he was also in this like movie with Kaylee Kuko this like kind of like a Lifetime movie called 10.5 about a giant earthquake. And a lot of the stuff that synced to my sister had a lot to do with Philadelphia and the Eagles and that earthquake that was felt near Philadelphia just before the Eagles won the Super Bowl. And this big narrative I followed with Philadelphia and bridge collapses and earthquakes over the years. And Fred Ward also died on the date 5/8, which is interesting because since like 2015 or whatever it was, 14 or 15, I noticed this pattern with earthquakes in the numbers 58 and 85, right? Such as the study of earthquakes goes back to Thales of Miletus, back to the year 585 BC. And think like seismograph equals 58 and Charles Richter equals 58. I can't even remember it. I'll have to go back and look, but a whole bunch of stuff that has to do with earthquakes was 58s and 85s. So Fred Ward dies on that day. He's connected to earthquake stuff. I know I said I was going to make it short. This really is actually pretty short because I could go really, really in depth here. But moral of the story, I just wanted to point out, what are the odds that, Fred Ward, they report Fred Ward dying right after I make this video, talk about Time Rider, how it's important and so on. And Fred Ward ends up dying. Like, gotta be kidding me. And in relation to that Freddy Krueger theme, on Wikipedia it says his birth name was Freddy Joe Ward. I just find that strange, Like, I don't know. You think his name would have been like Frederick or just, Fred, not Freddy, as a full name. But my Uncle Freddy, his birthday actually is August 10th. And I've talked about how he is important to this narrative with Tisha B'Av and so on. And once again, I'm following Tisha B'Av like crazy for this year. There's something important. Like I said, I don't know if it's a big event or just something I'm supposed to learn from it, or like a catalyst to understand all these patterns. There's definitely something important to August 6th this year, though. And I'm watching August 10th and August 11th a whole lot, too, because they were related in 2019. And this whole theme with Freddy and whatever, it goes back to Kanye West singing the Freddie Mercury song Bohemian Rhapsody in Glastonbury, and then Corey Taylor, the lead singer of Slipknot, calling him out and so on. But that was just after Freddie Gray had died, and then we also had Paul Gray of Slipknot, the first one to die, the first member to die, and a whole lot more, I talked about how it was synced up to the VMAs and Freddy Krueger, and then Wes Craven ended up dying the same day as the VMAs in 2015. The guy who wrote Freddy Krueger movies. It's Freddie Gray was synced up, to he died on April 19th, which is interesting with the OKC rally and stuff too. There's really important. That day was really important. So, and my name equals 419. So. I'm just trying to gather I'm just trying to think here, I'm sorry for rambling, but it's interesting. But the movie Freddy's Dead came out on 4/19, or it came out on September 13th or whatever, which is like the mirror day. It's the 256th day, and 4/19 is the day that leaves 256 days in the year. They're like mirror days, But the movie Drop Dead Fred came out on 4/19, and then Freddy's Dead came out on September 13th. And then later that year, Freddie Mercury died. And this Mandela Effect theme, it goes back a lot to the band Queen and the song We Are the Champions. So, I'm just trying to piece this together in my head. Maybe it's important to Queen Elizabeth. There's definitely, it's crazy. Fred Ward, but I will leave it there. I just wanted to make a quick video, or quick, well, I thought it was going to be quick. It's almost as long as the other, it's longer than the other video. But have a good one. Peace. Just want to add another thing here. I was looking at Kevin Bacon here, and it's interesting. Think about the movie Tremors with Fred Ward and Kevin Bacon, but he's born in Philadelphia, of all places, which links up to kind of what I'm talking about. But his name Bacon is very important. In 2019, that Tisha B'Av event was really important to the Chinese Pig Year, and it was linked up to Slipknot, the Iowa band, Iowa, the leading producer of pigs, and Slipknot was important to the Dream theme with Kanye West and a whole bunch of stuff here, and that Freddy theme, and Paul Gray, who was known as the Pig, the first guy to die in Slipknot. So Kevin Bacon. But notice Kevin Bacon was also in the movie Friday the 13th. I've been trying to figure out why they didn't release the death of Fred Ward until Friday the 13th. And now I'm going, how interesting that I don't remember, this movie's really old, but Kevin Bacon was in this movie, Friday the 13th, and then they released the death of Fred Ward on Friday the 13th. And think about Friday the 13th in relation to Freddy Krueger, right? I mean, how interesting. That's some crazy stuff here. Friday the 13th. Jason. I'll make some blog posts. I'm going to edit it. I'm just going to completely end it because I got to get some sleep and whatever. But he's also in the JFK movie. And I've talked about this movie a whole lot. Apollo 13, another really important movie. Tremors. I wonder when Tremors came out. Just curious here. January 19th. It doesn't stick out to me as far as the pattern that I'm following. Possibly it will. We'll leave it there. Just interesting. I think that there's a reason why, the reason that he died, I feel like the reason they released this news on Friday the 13th was because of Kevin Bacon being in the movie Friday the 13th. What's Kevin Bacon? Kevin Norwood Bacon. It's the 515 really sticks out because of Slipknot and whatever, because Des Moines is in the 515 area code. Wendy Allen just told me about Kelly Osbourne being pregnant with the DJ of Slipknot, Sid Wilson's baby, and his birthday is January 20th, the same day that Meatloaf died, and the same day that Ozzy Osbourne ate the bat, in Des Moines, Iowa. So what are the odds? The Slipknot guy from Des Moines, Iowa is now having a baby with Kelly Osbourne, Ozzy Osbourne's daughter. I mean, and this was also synced up to Philadelphia. Kelly Osbourne was born on October 27th, which is the anniversary of Philadelphia, right? The day leaving 65 days in the year. But notice they announced this 5 months and 15 days before her birthday, the Des Moines area code. And Kelly Osbourne equals 229, just like Des Moines, Iowa equals 229. I've talked about Des Moines being, has French etymology, whatever, and it means like of the monk or something like that in French. And in 2019, Slipknot ended up playing with the band Gojira, or however you pronounce it, at the Iowa State Fair. And that's a band from France. So I'm going to watch the next few days. Today, May 15th, May 16th is another important day to Slipknot. There's a whole bunch of other stuff. One of my friends actually is good friends with Sid from Slipknot. He even has, pictures of him at his house holding his Grammy and stuff, so. And he's definitely not a bad person. I don't even think he even knows anything about this knowledge, so. It's just interesting. He goes on tour with the band Smile Empty Soul. I don't know what he does exactly. He says that he's the tour manager, but I don't really believe that. I think he's like a guitar tech or something, But who knows? He's a bullshitter, so. But he definitely goes on tour with them, and the lead singer of that band equals 229. And I guarantee he knows about this knowledge. They got like albums called Consciousness and whatever else. He's a really cool guy. I've met him a whole bunch of times. Or, it's been years ago, but it's the only band I've ever, went and watched, and they come out and hang out and party and whatever with you. So. Kelly Osbourne also used to date Burt McCracken from The Used, and it's interesting because today at work, The Used, randomly came in my head, one of their old songs. And I was even talking about it at work for 15 minutes, and then later in the day I saw that I had this email about Kelly Osbourne and whatever, and I thought, what are the odds? The lead singer of The Used used to date Kelly Osbourne, but his name equals 229 too, so. But, moral of the story, just that Kevin Bacon 515, it makes me think of Des Moines, Iowa. Or just, it's the area code there. We will leave it at that. I didn't even make a video on this, but for years I've had a joke where I say that Ozzy Osbourne ate meatloaf like a bat out of hell, right? And then literally Meatloaf dies on the same day that Ozzy Osbourne ate the bat in Des Moines, Iowa. You know what I mean? It's and I even showed on my Facebook or whatever how I even wrote that on one of my, a Facebook post, I don't even know, 8 months before Meatloaf died. Somebody had wrote something about a joke about Garth Brooks, and I wrote, I bet Ozzy Osbourne eats meatloaf like a bat out of hell. And then Meatloaf ends up dying on the same day that Ozzy Osbourne ate a bat out of hell in Des Moines, Iowa. So, whatever. I'm totally done. I really have to go to bed. I don't have to get up real early, but I know my kids are going to be up. And I got all the crap I have to do, so. Peace out.